Hey guys, Jamie and Tim here saying hello. We wanted to touch base with y'all this week after our Sunday night apologetics training, and just take a moment to talk about the homework. And we wanted to encourage you a little bit in it and offer maybe some alternatives in case you were wondering. We just heard ourselves.
Yep. So
yeah, but anyways, in case you had questions or maybe some doubts about what that homework would look like for you, and some of the different things that are different ways you could approach the task anyways.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the concern was that I know people that I'm not sure where they stand in their faith. They would say that they're Christian. So having that conversation and walking up to somebody and saying, "Hey, are you a Christian?" Them responding back with yes, and then still asking that question. So what has been your biggest stumbling block with Christianity? And I'm paraphrasing that first question. But so we thought maybe that we could still have, and that was a concern for everybody, was I don't know anyone that would say that they're not a Christian. So maybe just so that there's not such high anxiety, we just kind of wanted to address that and maybe redirect that question. So you want to?
Yeah, I think it's this isn't easy. No, and we don't want to pretend like it's an easy thing for us to do. We live in a world that is very hostile towards the kind of an approach where asking those direct questions, people might respond in a way that's hostile, angry, upset. It could ruin a relationship. All of those things come into our mind when we think about approaching somebody with these type of questions. So it's recognized why there's anxiety around it. But on the flip side of that, we also have to be willing to go out into the world and find a way that we can approach a person. And that's the whole purpose for this apologetics training from the get-go, is that the apologetics training is going to give you that confidence to be able to go out there and do that. So we want you to start practicing it, though, and that's why you have this homework. So it could be somebody that is not a Christian, and you just approach them and tell them exactly what you're up to, that you're taking a course and that you want to practice, and if they don't mind helping you practice. And it could be something like that. Or as Tim mentioned, maybe it's someone that is a Christian, but they aren't exactly living that lifestyle, so you could approach them with a similar question. I think the question's in here.
Yeah, so we want to, so just redirecting what the question says, yeah. I think. So if you are talking to someone who would call themselves a Christian, maybe just redirect or rephrasing that question to something like, what is your biggest question about Christianity? What is your biggest doubt? Because we all have doubts. Indeed. So I think even sharing that piece of it, even starting out the conversation still the same way and going, hey, I'm going through an apologetics class, learning how to speak to people about defending our faith, about asking questions that's going to create dialogue. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you think about it that way, and that's even practice at that point with going, okay, well, what is a doubt that you still have? You're a Christian. You say that you're a Christian, and we all have doubts. What is a doubt that you have? Because I want to help walk through some of those things. So it's important for us to be able to speak to Christians mm-hmm. as much as it is non-Christians. We don't need to look at this as we're only trying to speak to non-believers. We want to be prepared to speak to them and have a defense and be able to answer questions for them. But we need to be able to answer those same questions yes. for believers. A lot of believers out there have some doubts that could maybe lead them down a bad path, or a path that would cause them to fall away from God, and we don't want that to happen either. So even don't get fearful about having to ask this question of someone or try to find someone who would call themselves a non-believer. Let's even be able to be willing to have these conversations with Christians or those who believe that they're Christians. I don't think we need to go and challenge that person as we're beginning this conversation. but we do want to find out what kind of questions that other believers have, right?
Yeah. And so also we got to look at the length of this course, and we're going to be asking you to kind of engage with people every week, honestly. We're going to be asking you to engage with. So if you're at a stumbling block and it's going to hold you back from continuing the course because you're not able to go out and do this just yet, well, we don't want that to be a factor in your walk through this journey that we're going to be on together.
Sure.
Doing apologetics, learning and growing. And so if you find this very, very difficult from the start here, instead, just ask somebody, like Tim and I are going back and forth, just ask someone, hey, would you play a part so I can kind of role play this question so I can get comfortable asking these type of questions?
Sure.
And so get someone to just role play with you. And that would be a good way to tackle this if you're really stumbling through or you're just having trouble going out just yet. By the end, we want you to take that journey and that leap and be willing to go talk, as Tim said, to a Christian that maybe you want to ask, why they aren't deeper in this walk that they're on, or out into the world.
Sure.
Because that's ultimately where we want to go. We want to get comfortable, we want to get confident, we want to have courage, and we want to do it in a way that is Christ-like. And when we combine all that together, that's kind of the outcome that we want to see. And then you're unleashed, you're put out in the world just as we're commanded to in the Great Commission.
Yeah. So we just wanted to shoot this video real quick for you guys that maybe had questions, maybe a little fearful as you were walking into, oh my gosh, that homework is going to be tough to do. I had a lot of people come up and say, I don't know anyone that would say that they are not a Christian. So let's just rephrase the question. What are some of the doubts that you have in Christianity as a Christian? So let's just begin to have that dialogue. Maybe that's even an easier question for you to ask. There's a lot of people out there that have questions. Again, our whole goal in this is to build confidence and being able to have those conversations. So we're just excited about the class. We were excited about how many people turned out. Wow, that was really amazing. We had, I think, right at 120 people there. We have over 140 signed up for the class. God is truly working in all this, and we're excited to see what He's going to do. So looking forward to seeing everyone Sunday night at 5 o'clock. If you have any questions between now and then, you can shoot them out here on this page.
Yes.
Or you can contact Jamie or myself, and we'll help walk through some of that with you. So don't forget to, if you can, bring back in those questions this coming Sunday. Did we talk about that? Did we ask them those? Maybe if you can think about putting down 3 questions that you have, or questions that you come up with whenever you're speaking to someone this week on those cards, so that we can begin to mark those down, get them in the books. And like we said, at the end of the 8 weeks, we're going to have the pastors up on the stage, and kind of look forward to hearing what they have to say about each and every one of these questions as well.
We're going to drill them and we're going to skill them.
So,
all right.
So, thank you guys. We love you. Appreciate you. Looking forward to see y'all Sunday night. Again, we're around. We're here. If you have any questions, feel free to get us. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Awesome.